We're going to jump into our segment, Crank It Up, Turn It Down.
Hold on. That segment now needs to be called What Could Have Been.
Oh,
You need
what
a
could
new
have been?
segment.
That's good. What could have
I'll
been?
change it. I'll
Yeah.
change it. All right, guys, we're back. Crank It Up, Turn It Down. We faked you out. That first segment was called What Could Have Been. What could have been? I'll come up
We
with
need
some lame title.
We need a new graphic.
I don't
We
have
need
the
some-
graphics. I don't have the sound. It's
We
just
need
gonna
some
be-
new music.
It's just going to be some generic.
We know the graphic.
It's Sean's. Yeah, the picture of the
It's-
billboard.
Oh!
What could have been? And it's a picture of
it's
Sean's
just
hair.
his hair.
Yeah.
It's just,
Which is going to be hilarious because they're going to see that before we talk about it and be like, what is this? What are we watching? So crank it up, turn it down, guys. I'm going to say some things and I'm going to make them respond to me. Here we go. All right, Sean, Matt.
Yes.
Crank it up, turn it down, playing drum parts exactly like the record.
crank it up for me.
Explain.
My personality is if I get asked to play for church, I go on Planning Center. I learn the song. I go to YouTube. I watch covers. I'm like, that guy's not playing exactly like the record. I'm going to go back to the record. Okay, that's the part. That's the part. Maybe there's a little interpretation and a fill or something, but I'm going to, as closely as possible, play it the way it was written. Same for my own songs. I'm going back and relearning them. I don't want to get out there on stage and have the drummer in the front air drumming along to like effect symbol in the end,
Yeah,
and I don't actually play.
I
that.
was gonna I imagine because your stuff is so precise and kind of in your genre, like people memorize those parts and listen to it.
Right.
You want to kind of be like exactly
Yep.
like that. It's not like you're just a cover band going out there. Like you are
No.
the real deal. People memorize, and you do so much of that melodic cutting stuff. that
Right.
if you don't play it like that, it might sound off.
yeah, you
kinda
get the guy
back
that's like,
yourself into a corner a little bit.
Matt
it's like,
messed up.
Like I can't imagine. I mean, you see those all those videos of Rush and like
Yeah.
YYZ comes on and like everyone in the audience
Yeah.
like thousands of people are air drumming
Yep.
his exact.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you're just like, if he didn't play it like that, they
Yep,
wouldn't know.
that's
Interesting.
exactly right. It was written a certain way for a reason. That's
Interesting.
That's
Sean?
my thought.
Okay.
Here we
I
go.
am going to crank it down.
Ah.
And I'll give you a couple of reasons. Because number one, I don't think I am that style or that caliber of drummer that plays it exactly. And when I would learn songs, especially if I was playing it for a cover band or whatever else, I would beat myself up on it by not learn. I wouldn't play it perfectly, or I couldn't get it perfectly, and I would be down on myself about it. And then I realized that I don't need to do it exactly like he does it. Right. And I notice a lot of other great drummers out there that when they play someone else's songs, they'll put their own style onto it, and they'll play it like them.
Sure.
So then just learning that, or at least convincing myself of that, it made me more comfortable playing other cover. I try to play it almost to a T, and actually, for the most part, to a T. But there's certain things that, like, I'll say, I'm playing Everlong in my band right now, Foo Fighters. Right now, Dave Grohl does, like, he hits the hi-hat. He's like da 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 da.
Not
da,
Dave
da, da,
Grohl.
da.
Or no, it is
No,
Dave
it is
Grohl.
Dave
Shoot,
Grohl,
you're
yeah.
right. Never mind.
I don't like doing that.
I forgot that was.
So
on
I
it.
don't do that.
Wait, which section is that?
It's
It's like the pre-chorus. It's like the chorus.
It's like the chorus. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
and he plays it on the
Yeah.
hi-hats. He's da 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 da.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I play it on the crash. It feels better that way. I don't like doing that. It feels awkward to me, so I'm like, I'm
like
not gonna
that
play it
little
like.
riff, yeah.
And then I watched other people play it, and they played it on the crash too. So I was like, I'm gonna do it like that.
Oh,
And
interesting.
Yeah, so there's a lot of songs like that I like to interpret differently, and I'm allowed to, so that's why I'm going to crank it down, just because I don't think if I was that studio drummer that could play all those things, and maybe if I busted my ass a little bit more, I could be that guy.
Sure. Yeah,
well,
but
that's-
I'm just not that guy.
No.
So I'm okay with it.
Yep.
And I'm going to crank it down. I like to just
Yeah.
play it like pretty darn close,
Yep.
if not exact, but if I feel like changing it up a little bit, I'm going to change it up.
I think
Very fair.
it's very situational. I'm turning it down. I'm not cranking it down. I'm not cranking it up. I'm turning it down. I just because of my experience of the kind of thing that I do a lot of like country and like folk rock kind of stuff. And there's a lot of times where like you can tell those recordings like The guy never played it twice. You hear
Right.
bootlegs of it, and it's
Right.
like completely different. It's just like all about the feel in the
Yep.
moment and that kind of thing. So because I'm not playing genre that is like I'm not in a prog band or say like a metal situation or something where it's very analytical and very like very it's very mathy and kind of everything gels exactly right. It's more feel, chill, loose,
Yep.
acoustic singer-songwriter stuff. I'm switching it up all the
Yep.
time. I mean, the gist has to be there, of course, and if there's anything iconic, if it is an iconic drum part,
Right.
I'm gonna figure out exactly what that is.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
but you know, if there's a Purdy shuffle in there, I'm not gonna just play a rock beat. You
Right,
know what I mean?
that's
Like
right.
I'm
Sure.
gonna
Yeah.
put the time in. But again, a lot of that stuff is up to interpretation. You were talking the church thing you mentioned. When I play in church, I play every week in church. That's something where in that genre space, especially in like the contemporary worship scene, it's a lot of thuddy Tommy stuff, and I'm just not about it.
Right.
So I'll interject a groove in there,
Yep.
a hi-hat groove or something where it feels better, and guess what? It actually helps the band stay in
Yep.
time and be more on time. And,
Yep.
and
Some of that stuff translates better on album
For
than
sure.
live.
yeah, and then
sure.
also we typically have like a 4-piece band. Like, it's not
Right.
like we have like all of the backing track
Right.
and this and the like. I don't have a percussionist also playing stuff, so I'm kind of taking it in, trying to get close enough to the picture so that people that listen to this regularly
Yeah.
will recognize it
Right.
and will feel comfortable with it.
Right.
But also serve the band that I'm working with the best.
Right.
Which sometimes it's just keeping hi-hat going, not dropping out. Like, let's stay in time here, singer. Whatever the gig kind of calls for. So I'm
Yep.
turning it down. All right.
It's a good point. All good points.
All good points.
Yeah.
All good points.
I think so.
All right. Crank it up, turn it down. Listen very carefully.
I am listening.
Learning songs at band practice.
Oh.
Are we talking original writing or learning?
I didn't say
covers?
writing. I said learning songs. Learning songs at practice.
All right, I'll
Is
go
that what
first.
practice is for?
I'll go first. It depends. All right. So I'll start with August Burns Red because that's been 20 years of my experience with drumming.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you waited until practice to figure something out, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Reason being, practice for us at this point is really just playing the songs in the same room that we already know how to play our respective parts for.
Right.
We are not a jam band. And there are moments when I do miss that aspect of music where you get together in a room and I'm interested to see what you have to say about this, Sean, where you're playing music with people and maybe the stakes aren't as high. And so, yeah, you have a show coming up this weekend, but you don't have a Logic session built with clicks starting from the first song all the way through the 15th with the MIDI running your light show and your cryo and a lot more on the line, right?
Absolutely.
There's that pressure that plays into your practice. And I always say as a teacher, you want to build pressure points into your life. It doesn't even have to be with drumming. It can be with anything. If you want to get good at something, build pressure points in where I have a show coming up this weekend. I have a session coming up in a month. I have a drum lesson with Rick next week. And you're left with this decision where it's like, I'm either going to practice or I'm going to show up and look like an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I had never started the band and still continued to play drums, I know I would not be anywhere near where I am because I've had so many events like that in my life where it's like I have to practice. The pressure's on. I have to practice. I have to practice. And so for me, that's just part of getting really good at your instrument or really good at anything is not waiting until the moment when you have to deliver to a certain extent.
Yeah,
You're at
yeah.
practice. Yeah, you're still working stuff out, but you can't start your work there.
Yeah.
It should have preceded that.
So you're turning it down.
I'm turning it way down.
Yeah.
It's off.
It's
for
off.
me.
I agree with Matt. I'm turning it down too.
I love it. It's off. He unplugged it. Sean, go ahead.
Set it on fire.
I'm agreeing with Matt. I'm turning it down. I don't like to learn a song at band practice. I love getting a set list and learning them at home and coming in. And now we're here in the same room practicing. I get to practice on my own. Now that's for cover band stuff.
Okay.
Now
Sure.
I do play in an original band, and when you're writing songs, you have to kind of be
of
in the
course.
same area and doing all that kinds of stuff. So it's kind of harder to practice some of those.
You
on my
guys
own.
write stuff in person?
My
The
original band, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, we don't do that. I should have probably said that. It's all written
Well,
on
wait
a
a second.
computer and shared and
So like someone has an idea, they record their part, send it to someone else.
Okay.
yeah, like the whole song.
The whole thing.
the
right.
entire song.
I'll say this: the band that I play with right now, we've only been playing for maybe the past year. But the guitar player in that band, him and I have been in a band together in one way or another since 2007. So I played in a punk rock band with him for a long time called Man vs. Mars. And he is a songwriter. So he actually does the writing. So he'll come here's the song, and then he shows it to me, and then I'll put something to it, and then we'll make some fine-tuning arrangements there, and that's how we write a song.
Right.
So it's him. It is kind of him bringing. Hey, here's my idea for the song, and I'll say, all right, maybe I'll play this beat to it, or maybe we should do this during the bridge or something else like that. And they're all pretty simple songs. There's nothing like too complicated going on, but that's how we write songs. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But we'll jam
That
them
makes
out,
sense.
Sure.
and play them and practice them in,
That makes
in the room
sense in
together.
that
yeah.
context.
And a lot of times he would burn a CD for me of all the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and he would have like a just a drum machine going in the background,
Mm-hmm.
and that helped me too because then I could just pop it into my CD player driving around,
Yep.
and I would learn the songs that way, even though it's just a straight beat
Yeah,
through
learn
it.
the form
I
and
know
everything,
when the
structure.
I know
Oh,
the structure of the
absolutely.
song, so that's how I would learn the original stuff. But for the most part, right now it's just us in a
Yeah.
room, and we're trying to get our bass player kind of up to speed a little bit
Yep.
with like learning the stuff because him and I could bust throughout those like we know probably 30 songs like
Yeah.
you know, from all those years of playing together. We could just play them just like
Yeah,
that, you know.
that's- yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
awesome.
know tons more, but like
Yeah.
just those years, like we have
Sure.
all
In
these
addition
songs
to
we could
everything
just
else going on.
play,
Sure.
you know, at any given time.
I'm with you guys. I'm turning down the learning at practice.
Yeah, I don't like that.
The but now that we kind of delved into this a little bit for the recording songs and stuff, I've been recording some stuff, and I prefer to learn and write the stuff together.
Oh wow.
And that's half because my first experience with that was people sending me stuff that literally wasn't even recorded to a click, let alone anything else. So it was frustrating. I'm like, can we just get together? You know. So there's that.
Yeah.
But now that we've established a click and different things, where sometimes there'll be a little drum, but most of the time it's just a click and singer songwriter type thing, and then put your stuff in. It's really interesting because with again, I think the genre thing has a lot to do with it too. Just thinking like putting a placeholder in something where there's some songs, especially in like the folk country aspect side of things, where it's like, hey, I might not play until the second chorus,
Yep.
or something where it's like, it's more about communicating, like, what vision do you have for this song? Do you want this to be stripped back? How much do you want in? Do
Yep.
you want, shaker here or,
Yep.
that kind of thing? It's tough. It's tougher to do that type of thing.
Yep.
Sending things back and forth.
Yep.
And it's frustrating to me. And the time that it takes, I have a setup to record and everything, but the time that it takes to get this file, we're all using different file formats. It's
Yep.
really about the details.
Yep.
Those little details can screw you up.
I know.
Because at the moment, or the last time I did it, it was like, this guy sent me this file format, and then I added my thing onto it. I had to convert this. and
Might
then
as well
I
get into the
packaged
same
that.
room and show each
Exactly.
other right then and there.
I packaged that. I sent it off to him, and he's like, "Oh, could you send me this without that track?" And I'm
Yep.
like, "Well, I just sent you the MP3 for the idea."
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just like it can get frustrating. But you guys have a system down,
We do.
so that's
We
great
do,
thing
and it
to
works
have.
well for us. See,
Nice.
the thing is, if you're in a band and you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, what should we do? What's the right thing? It depends on what works the best for your group, your crew, your friends, your band members. And in my case, it used to be we would get together in a room and we'd write stuff, for the most part, and then we have been a band for so long now that we have families and we have had this full-time job for so long where we have built rhythms, if you will, that just work for us. So what is it that works for us? Not getting together in a room and jamming. We are not a jam band. Okay, we know that, so how are we going to write? So you have to identify what is the most streamlined efficient way to do something and just do it. Doesn't matter if it's what everyone else is doing or not.
Yep.
It really doesn't. It works for us, and it's kind of quirky. We use this quirky might not be the right word. We use this really outdated software called Tabit.
Okay.
There's much better,
But that works for you.
much better stuff out there with
It's-
MIDI.
it's efficient,
but
though,
it's.
yeah.
I see 53 and I know it's ride bell.
Yeah.
I see 51, I know it's ride. I see 35, I know it's kick. You know, and it's like people look at it and go, "What in the world is that?" It's like, well, that's just
Yeah.
what we've used for 20 years.
It's great. All right, I have 2 speed round ones. Speed rounds, quick explanations of why you either crank it up or turn it down. Crank it up, turn it down. Drum videos. You know what I'm talking about.
I'll crank it up.
Drum videos.
Yeah.
I picture a VHS tape when I picture a drum video, by the
Oh.
way. I don't picture YouTube drum video. I picture like, hey guys, it's me, a drummer that probably shouldn't be doing this, trying to be funny. Let's talk about the hi-hat. You know what I mean? That's what I picture in my mind.
Oh, you're not
I'm
picturing
not-
like
I'm picturing like instructional, like,
yeah.
hey guys, it's it's me from the whatever band, like we used to play at the shop.
Yeah,
and you'd be
no, I
coming
love
in.
'em.
There'd be like hokey drum videos up. You love it? Sean's like,
Yeah,
I
I love
love
'em.
the gimmick.
I love it. I love drum videos.
See,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about. Hi, my name is Tony Royster Jr. and I'm 13 years old, and I'd like to dedicate this drum solo to the late great Tony Williams. And he gets up there and just starts shredding. You're not talking about that.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I was thinking more like, and here's how I do it: boom, tap, boom, boom, tap, and that's basically it. And then like a stupid graphic comes up that's just like the kick drum, and then he's just like, here's my bass drum. Doom, doom, doom. Sounds good.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? Like those kind of videos.
No,
are
I'm not
hilarious.
talking about that.
He's not talking about that.
No,
You're talking
I-
about Mike Portnoy.
Yeah, like on my Portnoy.
That's
video.
good, too.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
totally.
day.
Yeah, definitely.
All day.
That's
I'm
awesome.
Crank
Yeah.
it as
Yeah,
loud as
that's
I
what
can.
I'm cranking
I
up.
bought all the Mike Portnoy
Yeah.
posters from
Yeah.
Drums, Etc.
Dude,
Wow.
I bought them all. I have them all.
I bought
in my
them all.
house.
I bought them all. Hey,
I bought them all.
so
I remember
so,
that.
He's
so
back
the
in
the
Dream
drum
Theater.
Yeah,
video.
he's back to where he belongs in Dream Theater.
Exactly.
That's kind of cool.
The drum video thing goes from, and nowadays there's the whole like YouTube, but like in my mind, it's something instructional that a drummer specifically
really-
puts
That's what I'm
cheesy.
cranking up. I'm cranking that up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sounds
drum videos nowadays for your regular YouTube drummer are a dime a dozen. So yeah. That's fine to do that, but
I'm kind of turning those down.
yeah,
a little
I'll
bit.
turn those down.
Yeah.
But I'm cranking up the DVDs.
I'm turning. Yeah, I'm cranking up the DVDs.
Like the modern drummer ones,
Yep.
your old Speed Power Control, Jim Chapin
Yep.
VHS that I have that taught me a lot.
How do you feel about the nerdy Neil Peart ones where he says, and then I insert the ostinato, and here's another version of orbital drumming, and he's like in a rowboat.
Dude,
and you're like,
they're great.
I've never.
You've never
yeah,
seen
I've
those?
never seen them.
Dude, the Neil
I've
Peart
seen
ones
it.
are great. He's
Yeah,
like out in
they're
the
awesome.
woods somewhere.
And
Yeah,
I'm not a
Are you
Rush fan,
serious?
yeah.
but it's pretty cool.
It's great. It can be very, very dry because of how he is. But,
He's Canadian.
Yeah,
If you didn't know.
he's Canadian. Yeah.
Do you have any Canadian viewers?
Yeah,
Probably.
we do.
You did.
We did.
You do.
We did. We did. Well, we had a live stream the other day, and we had giveaways. We were giving away these Zildjian like multi tools, and we were talking about the PA drum show we had hosted and everything else like that. And we're like, hey, anyone out there, if you comment,
We'll give you something. We'll send you one.
We'll send you something. Of course, someone commented from Canada, and we're like, it
Well, we didn't think
costs
about
us
that.
$15.
$15.
It costs us $15 to ship this thing
I'll
out.
put my hand around you now.
Yeah, we're like, oh boy, but no, it's all good.
I know.
It's funny.
Sean, you're not getting your bonus this
That's
year.
all right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of posters, you took all the Mike Portnoy posters.
Yeah.
You also, and speaking of Rush, you also bought a Neil Peart poster,
Yes, I did.
which somehow made it over here to the new shop and was literally hanging on the wall.
Yep.
And you came to collect,
I
but
had to
you
come get
came
it.
out. Sean, can you grab it?
Yes.
But he came to collect his poster, but gave us a gem
Yes, I did.
to trade back because he
Yes,
felt
I
bad
did.
taking something off the wall. And
That-
this is just
clearly,
beautiful.
I gave you the more important.
This
of
is
the two
absolutely
items.
August Burns Red. their emo phase where they all have the same hair,
Emo's not dead.
and just it's a beautiful thing. And that hangs in our bathroom.
Gosh.
So if you come into Drums Etc.,
that, you can be.
you're sitting there and you can just look up and see Matt staring down at you with his jacket. And
You cleaned us out of Mike Portnoy posters and Neil Peart posters and tapestries and everything else, but you gave us something that is priceless, and we have
Priceless.
it. And
I'm not even upset it's in the bathroom.
No.
I'm honored.
we've taken a lot of peas together, Matt.
he just stares into your eyes. You know, it's a good spot. It's a good spot to have it.
Do you ever change it up? Maybe look
Never.
at Jake or JB?
Oh yeah, I
or-
look at all a lot of you.
I look at a lot of you.
No, I look at the lot of you.
Jeez. All right, we're doing one more because I love Crank It Up, Turn It Down. And
Yeah, I
this
do
is
too.
this is the season finale,
This
if
is
it were.
it.
This is episode 12. We do one a month.
Crank it up,
This is- here we go.
2023.
Crank It Up, Turn It Down. The last one for the season. Here we go. Crank It Up, Turn It Down. Thank you. Drumming under lights.
Oh, actually, we'll do this at the same time.
Here we go. 3.
One.
Sean and I are not on the same page. I'm not on the couch. I'll shut up.
You're not. You
what
gotta.
he- you said
you gotta.
three.
You
I said
gotta. You gotta.
All right.
So
You
what
count
are we
us in.
saying?
We were in time. We were in
We
time.
were in
but
time.
just-
We were just on the wrong number. We would have gotten there eventually. It's like, okay, on the count of 3, go on 2. 1, 2. No. All right. So crank it up, turn it down.
Yeah.
Drumming under lights. Is that what you
Drumming
said?
under lights. Yep.
Okay.
Is that all the context we get?
That's it.
Okay, I got this. Yep.
You gonna count us in?
3, 2, 1.
Crank
Turn it
up.
down. One of us is in a band that plays under the lights.
I don't get to play under the lights enough.
So much.
So when it happens, I love it.
Oh man, you really got to be back under the lights.
Dude,
I'm
you
back.
deserve it. That
I'm
hair
back
needs to
with
be
the
under the
hair.
lights.
Yeah. Well, there was a light on that sign. Do you remember that?
Yeah, man.
That light that hung over the building.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I would like to have the light, not the
You guys
tapestry.
need
I don't
the
care
light.
about that.
Sean wants the light back.
I want the light.
We're gonna get that poster to a new shop
Well-
someday to put it up, and I'm just gonna leave that section out. It's just gonna be the girls, and Sean's not gonna be in the poster.
Well, I'm gonna.
Explain.
I'll add this because when you, you're on tour, you have a professional rig, and you're playing these big places. When you're doing like little hole in the wall places like I play, if you're just doing a hole in the wall place and you don't have lights, you look like crap.
Yeah,
Like,
you do.
It's like if you put up 2 light trees, it makes such a better impression immediately. You
Yeah,
look,
it does.
You look better.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm cranking it up because, even a singer songwriter playing in a local bar, pub, whatever, coffee shop, you have some lights on you, man. You look so much more professional. So that's why I'm cranking it up.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a great point, and you're right. Actually,
You're just tired of it.
He's
Actually, okay. Here's a little deep dive. I used to have a speech impediment, and that might seem unrelated to this, but as a kid in your teenage years, when you have something like that, it's social suicide.
Yeah.
And I would try to hide it from everybody, and I was pretty bashful. Actually, I was pretty timid. I didn't like the spotlight. So when I started playing drums, this thing happened to me where it was like, man, you're really good at drums. You're really good at drums. Wow, you're good at drums. You're really good at drums. And where I was a person with no confidence, I started to have confidence. But the part of me that didn't like the spotlight actually didn't have everything to do with my stutter. I don't like, that's my personality.
yeah.
Which I like playing drums because I get to be behind stuff and not the front man holding a microphone on the front of the stage. So lights, absolutely necessary. Impressive looking, needs to happen. A part of every show. Be really bad if it wasn't. Drumming under lights versus in my practice space, like in my barn, man, I love playing when there's just nothing on the line. When it's just me playing my drums and no one's
No
watching.
stakes.
Because
As soon as you're
that
under
was-
lights, you know there's stakes.
Yep.
It's like the first time we did this, I remember talking to Sean and we like trying to get him used to the fact like I would hit record super early.
Yep.
Because if you're looking and you see that red light blinking,
Yep.
all of
Right.
a sudden it changes.
I was nervous.
Your psyche,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Now
I watched your first video to
Yeah.
see because I was just like, it can be tough.
Yeah, sure. I didn't know what to
Yeah.
expect, and like, what if I say the wrong
thought you
thing?
did
What if
great.
I stutter?
Yeah, now
Like,
clearly
what
he
if I
doesn't-
say a word wrong?
Yeah.
And actually,
Now he doesn't care.
no, I don't care.
Yeah.
I realize who cares. Good. Like it's great. I hope I say a word wrong or
Yeah.
I stutter or something
Yeah.
because it's gonna be funny. I've
Exactly.
said some funny crap on here
Yeah.
that like I screwed up or messed up, and it's
And we
better
leave
that
it
way.
in.
And we leave it in.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had
Exactly.
Evan on, and I screwed up a line. I said something I couldn't say. Podcast guest. I couldn't say it. I kept.
Podcast guest.
Yeah, podcast guest. I couldn't say it. I was like, I screwed it up once, and I caught myself. I was like, podcast guest. Podcast guest. And I said it again. I screwed it up again, and I said it again. I screwed it up again. I said, all right, I can't talk. Let's do this again. Like,
Yeah.
and I thought, no, let's keep it in. It's funnier that
It
way.
is. It is. Yeah. I mean, that's what people want.
Yeah.
It's people want the real deal.
They do.
And when they're coming to an August Burns Red show or they're coming to any show, they pay money to be there. You want to give them a good show. And obviously lights are an important part of that. But just personally, on a personal level, there's something about me doing what I do for fun too.
Yeah.
And it's not just about it being something I have to do, because
Yeah.
as is so typically the case, something you love turns into something you get paid to do, and now because you have to do it, you don't love it anymore.
You
mean
don't
li-
want it to be a chore.
Yeah.
You don't want it to
Do you
be a
mean
chore.
like you don't want it to be like, oh, the spotlight is just on you? It's more like the band and just you expressing yourself with these guys
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people getting something out of that music than just like you don't want the spotlight just being on you. You don't like that.
Yeah, that, but also just on stage playing with the band. It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I bet. dude.
I tell my wife, like, if I am about to do something that's not easy, mentally I think to myself, and try this next time it's so funny too. It's for silly stuff. I'll be playing cornhole and I'm about to throw the bag. It's an important throw, trying to win the game, and I'll literally think to myself, what's the hardest thing you've ever done? Play drums on stage with AVR. There's nothing as hard as that. This is definitely not as hard as that. And I do it, and it drops the stakes. It gives you this perspective. So knowing that it's that level, when I get to move my drums into the barn and just play, oh my gosh, man, it is so
great.
refreshing to me.
Yeah, yeah.
The
That's funny that
pressure's
you say
off.
that, because I remember when I was a kid, seeing and hearing about the Miracle on Ice movie about the team that beat Russia and that, right?
Yeah.
And boy, if you want to get fired up about America, you watch that, right?
Yeah.
But I remember being a kid and being like, if I tell myself I'm doing this for America, which is hilarious now because of how controversial people feel about our country for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the reasons, but it's just like I remember like I would use that as a kid to psych myself up.
Nice.
Like as a little kid, I was like,
Yeah.
this is like as if I was some Olympian or something. So I'm with you, dude. I'm
Yeah.
just going. You're going to a vulnerable place. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I'm right there
Yeah.
with you. One
yeah.
more thing before we move on. We talked about drumming under lights and like the physical lights and stuff. I remember shortly after getting my first drum set, finding in my brother's room a strobe light.
Oh,
Have you
strobe
ever
lights, dude?
drummed using a strobe light? It's
that I don't
insane.
like.
Dude.
Really?
That it's been a long time, but I remember just
Yeah.
starting out in my band in high school, like,
Oh, that'll
and it
throw
wasn't
you
good.
off. Dude, you can't look
I was
at
gonna say
yourself.
it effed me up, but it did, man. I was like, we gotta turn this thing off, dude. It's messing
See,
me up.
I loved strobe lights because it was just like it made you look even crazier than what
Yeah.
you were.
I guess I gotta give it another
You
shot.
can't look at your hands when you're doing that.
Yeah.
I found myself. We played one show where I did that, just like a backyard party or whatever, and I literally just closed my eyes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is easier.
Yeah.
But like, if I hear my snare and I see my stick up here, it just won't. I can't.
Yeah.
My brain can't keep up with it.
It's like when Matt saw this, he's like, "Wait a second, you're over here watching us on the
It's all
screen.
backwards, yeah.
Everything's backwards. But this is my right hand, my left
What
hand.
do I
What's
do
going
with
on
my
here?"
hand?
What do I do with my hands? I'm just sitting here like this. All right, let's jump into our next segment: drum industry news.